A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
Hello, thank you very much for joining us today. It's so lovely to see you. And I am so pleased to be able to welcome back Ciara Corcoran. Ciara is one of our homeopaths on Homeopathy 24/7. And it is so lovely to be able to talk to you about homeopathy and about life in general, Ciara. How are you?
I'm great, thanks, Mary. It's what date are we now? We're kind of in the middle of July. I'm in Ireland, and our summer is, let's say, interesting. But nonetheless, we'll just really enjoy what we're given. We don't, thankfully, have extreme temperatures or awful situations to deal with. So anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Otherwise, I'm good, and I hope you are as well.
Good. Thank you. Yes, you're quite right. We don't have the hottest summers in the world here, do we? But you're right. That does mean that also we don't have the hurricanes and everything else that people have to endure.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are we going to talk about today? Because we've got obviously the homeopathic picture, but we've also got our general lives and how our health fits in to what we're doing. And quite often our lifestyle dictates what we're able to take on board. So what do you think about when remedies are not enough?
I love this topic, and my head is kind of swimming with ideas of what happens and why remedies sometimes are not enough. So I suppose for me, it's kind of when we all start our journey in learning about homeopathy, whether it's self-education or education through our own homeopaths or reading, whatever it is. I think the rookie mistake, for want of a better word, that we all make is that we dive in and take lots of remedies for acute stuff. And then we might see where online or from word of mouth, somebody might say, I had arthritis and I took this remedy for 20 days and I've never been better. And you recommend that by being very helpful. You might recommend your friend or your family member to do that. And it doesn't help at all. And why is probably a question we often ask ourselves. Why did it work for somebody else and not for me? And then that just brings the bigger picture when remedies are not enough. And sorry, I know I'm rambling here, which is something I often do. But for me, I suppose there's four key things to think about when remedies are not enough. And we can talk about them in a little bit more detail. One is, I kind of mentioned it there, that we're too enthusiastic about homeopathy. The next is there's a variety of maintaining causes. There's a huge spectrum of maintaining causes as to why remedies don't necessarily always support our own or our loved one's health. An obvious one, but sometimes one that's possibly overlooked or not given enough credence, is nutrition and lifestyle. And then the other, I suppose, for me, important factor might be the idea that for some people, homeopathy is a kind of a system of health that they use. And they might think one visit to the homeopath and I'll be sorted, or one remedy and I'll be sorted. So expectations, I suppose, is another word for that. So yeah, I suppose if you want to delve into the first one there, we can do
Yeah,
that.
let's go through this. This is so exciting because actually the podcast that just came last week, just before this, was all about maintaining causes. So this is so topical, so important for us to have this discussion. And of course, expectations, absolutely. This is the conversation we desperately need to have. But let's start with that too enthusiastic, because in a way, being really enthusiastic is a great thing.
Brilliant.
But it must be related to expectations, mustn't it? Because I often say that don't expect to be great at something when you first start doing it. It takes
Yeah,
practice, doesn't it? If we all were brilliant at something the first time we did it, we'd never have to learn anything, would we?
absolutely. I mean, you don't give somebody the keys of a car and say, off you go. We tell
Yeah,
them how to drive and,
practice.
turn left, turn right, and, it's car crash, literally waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And I suppose, we don't want to run when we can just take one step at a time. So I think for me, when I started out in my education with homeopathy, now this is going way back to when I was a child, and my father was stocked the remedies in his pharmacy. So for me, it was like an awareness that this existed, because for a lot of people, they don't even know it exists. And then another obstacle is it exists, but does it work? Because you're often met with fear and skepticism and so on and so forth. And then I think, there's this, what I would call nagging voice, often, especially with mums and caregivers and people who are passionate about natural health. There's a nagging voice inside us all saying, there must be a better way. And then the universe is listening, and somehow homeopathy can come into our radar. And I mean, obviously I'm on the team with homeopathy 247, and I would often take a lot of acute consultations, full consultations, but most importantly on the forum of Ask a Homeopath, Ask a Homeopath, that's really a great way to kind of begin to understand from a basic and beginner level how homeopathy works, what way you should approach maybe acute stuff, such as maybe mild, coughs, fevers, colds that you can self-prescribe. So I suppose step one is get a kit, because to have a kit is fantastic. And then when you have your kit, you can learn very slowly about each remedy, and whether that's asking, uh, you know, homeopaths to help you and to nudge you along. So the enthusiasm part of this is, unless we kind of educate ourselves as to the core principles of classical homeopathy, we can often have a situation, somebody prescribes a particular remedy, we have our kit, it doesn't work, and we keep pinging remedies in, just 10 remedies within 2 hours, and suddenly it's nothing works, this is useless. So the enthusiasm is, it's fantastic to start off with your kit, but just ask for help, ask for guidance, and ask for learning around it.
And I think it's worth mentioning here, because we don't get the opportunity to mention this very often at the time. There are kits available to buy. The kits are not allowed to say this remedy is good for this and this remedy is good for this. Now, that is to do with medicine licensing. It's not due to bad homeopaths producing these kits. It is to do with the law. So you will find either little booklets available or an app on the phone or something that runs alongside it. Or in our case, we've got lots of ebooks, we've got lots of information, we've got apps that you can download called Homeopathy at Home that run with the kits, but we are not allowed to put that information with the remedies themselves. So first of all, people might be tempted to think, well, why hasn't it come with an instruction book? And that is the reason. It is very, very important that you understand what exactly you're buying and that it is part of a system, as you say. And when I quite often, bring up the fact that homeopathy is run with a set of principles. These are just the principles of how we do homeopathy. It's huge. It's a huge, very, very exact way that we are matching the symptoms with the remedies. And that means it is a huge topic for you to learn.
Massive, massive.
And when I first came to see that homeopathy was on Facebook, there were groups, it was always mums teaching mums. And that's very good, but mums teaching mums did not learn from the principles of homeopathy. And so although sepia works for them for a headache, and they were passing that information to somebody else, the sepia wasn't working for the next person because it wasn't chosen according to those principles of prescribing. So this is what we need to make so much more available and make it as easy as possible for people to learn, isn't it, when they first start and first get that kit? Because let's face it, when you go for an acute consultation, it's so helpful for us if you've got some remedies in the house.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's such a relief for people when they haven't had success for acute stuff by trying some remedies. They don't have the perspective. And it's such a relief when they can just go, okay, I'm just going to hand this over to somebody who actually has a little bit more experience than me. And by doing that, and by the homeopath explaining why they have chosen this remedy for this ailment, that's another little rung on the ladder of climbing on learning about homeopathy. I mean, it's human nature. We all want to help each other, and mums want to help other mums.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful to see when people say, oh my goodness, this situation happened to me, and I really hope that you get better, so I would suggest this remedy. But again, homeopathy is for specifically individual symptoms for you, prescribed for you. You have the individual symptoms, so a remedy must be matched to your individual situation. So enthusiasm is a wonderful quality, but in the very, very, very early stages of particularly acute prescribing, it can be just tipping into one reason why remedies are not enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're on enthusiasticness about homeopathy or about a new method of healing, which isn't, of course, new, but it might be new to you, or having a choice or realizing that there is hope. You might have come to homeopathy because nothing else has worked, and suddenly somebody is giving you something that gives you the hope that something might work in a different way. So that might be suitable for you. But this comes with a word of warning that homeopathy is quite addictive, isn't it? Because once you start learning, we're just always going to be learning.
We're always learning.
Oh, we just don't give up learning. There's always something else that we need to know. We need to understand. We need to put together. It's a bit like just continuously doing jigsaws. Get the information, isn't it?
And also, medicine evolves, science evolves, homeopathy has evolved since Mr. Hahnemann wrote his beautiful organon. But there are so many new remedies now that are absolutely relative to the modern world. Just like there's new species of animals and plants, and there's always new remedies coming along. So, we mirror often what's happening in nature. We're in the digital age now, which has its own challenges as well. And, for some people who are very, very sensitive to energies and remedies, that digital age in itself, there are very specific remedies that can resonate only with certain people that you might never in a month of Sundays think of. And another kind of caveat to our enthusiasm, homeopaths are not infallible. You know, I might take 10 acute cases and 7 or 8 of them will be fantastic, and 2 or 3 of them I'd just be scratching my head saying, okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. And that's probably when it links to the next reason why remedies don't always work, or are not enough, and that is maintaining causes.
Exactly. And we can't really stress this enough, can we? That a maintaining cause will stop the remedy or stop your body holding the new way of reacting, because there is something that is not allowing your body to keep that up. And it could be a whole host of things. So let's start by making a quick list of the type of things that might stop the remedy working continuously, or it works for a little bit and then it goes back, and then or actually it doesn't. The in the Organon, I think he says the most well indicated remedy doesn't hold. So let's have a quick rundown of the reasons why that might be.
I have to say, when we're talking about modern life, I would say one huge maintaining cause for people is stress.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can go back to Hahnemann and talk about susceptibilities and genetics and this, that, and the other. But I think in the here and now, in modern life, in 2024, I really, really see stress and burnout and so many other emotional issues as being a huge maintaining or obstacle to cure. And especially in areas such as kind of emotional health, depression. You know, if somebody presents to you and they've come from relationship breakdown, abuse, but they're still living in that situation, you can give all the remedies in the world, but unless that potent, toxic, maintaining cause is addressed, we're firefighting all the time.
That's right. And of course, we can give, you know, where the energy is where we are. So that needs to be addressed first. And there might be homeopathy that can help you with that, but also there is a whole host of other things that might be relevant to you. There, you know, breathing exercises, you know, learning different mindset exercises that you can be learning. There are, might be talking to a counsellor. It might, you know, depending on what's happening, there are many other areas of health, natural health systems that really can help you address this. It might be acupuncture. It might be having a massage once a week. It might be going to do yoga. It might be, as I say, learning breathing exercises. But the one thing is that we have to find a way to manage the stress so that your body has a chance of healing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another maintaining cause, and I suppose for us as homeopaths, I think the more clients, patients that we see, the more I experience this is, and it's two-way traffic, is where somebody may have been working with a homeopath for 10 years, for 5 years, whatever it is, and they have a very, very well-intentioned loyalty with that homeopath. But in the last while, they just haven't seen progression, they haven't seen change. And often, again, as we talked about, homeopathy evolving, we change, we evolve, our energies change, and sometimes we need a fresh perspective. And even somebody who wants to listen. When you engage in a consultation with a homeopath, I think the most important thing is to listen to your client, to listen to your patient, to allow space, allow time, and us have the opportunity and the privilege to be that unprejudiced observer, because it's very easy to kind of work our way into almost like a friendship with long-term clients. And sometimes we're doing ourselves and our clients a disservice by not remembering to respect the boundaries. So it's their health and their space. So that's just another thought that came up for me.
That's and that's something that we don't talk about quite often. And the thing is, the problem of obviously with that is that you get to know your clients very well.
Yeah.
You get to know their backstories, and actually the thought for them of going to start with somebody new, well, what if I don't get on with them? What if they don't understand me like you do? What if, but the main thing that you're saying is they actually are going to listen in a different way. And because of their previous experience in different roles, they will ask you completely different questions and get to a different answer. We become sometimes a little bit stuck.
Yeah.
And we need another influence to become unstuck, to get over that little hurdle. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
What about something like grief or trauma, or a hospital procedure that has affected perhaps your body and its healing system?
Yeah, I mean, grief is, I would say grief, again, you could tie that in with stress. Grief is probably one of the most difficult situations for all of us to deal with, of course. But grief can come in as an umbrella term for retirement. You might be grieving with retirement. You've lost your identity. You're grieving from a relationship. You're grieving from death. You're grieving loss of status if somebody has financial hardship. So I think we all react differently to grief, and it's just deep diving into the grief a little bit more and finding out, how is the grief presenting? Are you in a state of panic? Are you in a state of anger? Are you in a state of inertia? Because ailments from grief in the repertory is very, very big. And often we think for grief, you might look up, we'll all look up remedies for grief and we'll see Ignatia, Nat Muir, Fossack, and we'll give ourselves one of them that doesn't help. Yeah. Why doesn't it help? Because we haven't addressed the really, really dominant emotion that's presenting there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just understanding, isn't it? How you are affected by this and have been maybe for some time, how you are holding on to things. Maybe you have blocked it and you're not actually aware of it. And I think the most important thing that you said there is we actually see grief as any loss. It's perhaps much bigger topic than most people think of grief.
Exactly. And as you say, hospital trauma, I mean, it's a classic. And again, one remedy I'll always think of, and I'm sure many of us do, for people who are traumatized from a particular procedure would be Staph aureus, because the vulnerability is huge. And it's, for some people, we will say Staph aureus because this feels so vulnerable and they're angry that they've been violated and they haven't been consulted because they've handed over the power to the medics. But maybe it's not Staph aureus. Maybe it's sadness. Maybe it's very, very much kind of a sadness that their expectations weren't met. So it's, all of these things that you've mentioned, we can address them or look at them from the same angle, I suppose, or different angle.
It's worth just mentioning, isn't it, that when we look at the repertory, when we look at the reasons why somebody might feel as they feel, there are so many different ways that it is expressed, and that's why we have so many different remedies, and that's why whenever we're talking about it in acute possibilities, we talk about 2 or 3 that are the most commonly used in acute. But we might be picking those 2 or 3 from 200 remedies.
Yeah.
And you don't know about those other 200 remedies. So there's a
Yeah.
whole lot underneath that could really work for you. So
Yeah.
that is a really important point. But take it, what we're doing, obviously, by having this conversation is saying, look, we've got this choice in healthcare. The remedies generally are really, really helpful. The most important thing is you are going to learn so much about you and your body and your symptoms that you will then understand what your maintaining causes are. So if these words don't mean much for you now, they will as
Yeah.
we start this journey, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm very, very passionate about this. I am not anti-hospitals,
No.
anti-medics, or anything like that. And I think one thing that really said I'm passionate about is when we say when remedies are not enough, sometimes they're not. Sometimes our illness has progressed to severe pathology, and we just
Yeah.
have to accept we need help. We need to go to hospital, whether it's for whether it's for surgery, whether it's for cancer treatment,
Yeah.
and it's our personal choice. However, the remedies can also support us beautifully
Through
when
that.
we do have to go to that next step. So I think that's really important because, um, you know, we all want homeopathy to do everything for us, and
Yeah.
it can do an awful lot for us. But listen, if your arm is hanging off, there's
You,
nothing any remedy can do. There's
you need hospital.
yeah, we need hospitals, yeah, and
Yeah.
dentists and so on.
And the first thing we learn as homeopaths is homeopathy is not instead of surgery.
No,
So if you need surgery, you go for
yeah,
surgery
yeah,
and you use homeopathy to recover faster.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, it's certainly that was well worth bringing up. Well done.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think, and I love these questions. And the next is probably going from the kind of deeper stuff now to the kind of nutrition and lifestyle.
Yeah.
I love I love when people ask, can I drink coffee? Can I brush my teeth with toothpaste? I don't know what to do. So my answer to this is just starting off with the coffee question, because I think that's always a very, very common question. And
Yeah.
sometimes it might be a reason for why remedies don't work. We all have our own sensitivities. That's why we're all individual. I could have a triple espresso at 11 o'clock at night and conk out. And I have never had an issue with taking remedies and drinking coffee because I love coffee. I'm not addicted, I just love it. But I know so many people who, if they drink coffee at 11 o'clock in the morning, they won't sleep that night. And for those particular people, my suggestion might be if you're sensitive to a particular substance, then maybe think about just taking that out of the picture while you're taking homeopathic remedies. Um, Again, we all strive to have a clean diet, and we'll often see people coming to us saying, well, I think I might just take gluten out of my diet, or I think I might take lactose out of my diet. But it's just because they've read on social
Mm.
media or somebody has told them that it's a good thing to do. But I think we really need to, unless we have symptoms, by obvious symptoms, that we eat pasta or eat wheat or drink cow's milk and we have a reaction, there really isn't a necessity to kind of clean your diet, because, wheat, if we have organic wheat and we make our own bread, you know, that's absolutely fine. We don't have to be on a gluten-free diet or whatever. Um, but yeah, we're all different. So nutrition and lifestyle in balance, everything is in balance. So what's right for one person with their diet is not always going to be the right thing for you. And it's like diet and lifestyle as well. We can't prophylactically give remedies for symptoms that don't exist. So, like that, why would you go on a gluten-free diet or a lactose-free diet for symptoms that you're not displaying? So I just thought I'd bring that little controversial opinion of mine in.
It is, and it's just such worth such discussion, because quite often we need to be saying to clients as well, well, actually, if you're just starting homeopathy now, don't change anything else that you're doing right now. So if you're taking those minerals and vitamins, carry on,
Yeah.
because then we know that any changes that occur, have been helped or have changed through the homeopathy. So whatever you're doing right now, just carry on. Let's see where that takes us. And now, obviously, if we are finding that the food is the maintaining cause,
Yeah.
if you were coming to us with gut related issues, and by that I might mean skin related issues or hormone related issues, because the gut has a lot to do with it, then we might well be questioning what you're eating, what you're doing, and if you're noticing flares after certain events or certain meals, or whatever that might be. We are looking for patterns. So we are also helping you learn about the patterns of your body. We are helping you learn how to interpret your symptoms effectively. And if you find that your symptom is always worse after, your husband has night duty and you eat something completely different on those weeks, then, that's really important information. And we will use it to help you decipher what is actually happening in the body, what your symptoms are trying to tell you. So yeah, just really looking at how your nutrition and lifestyle affects your symptoms is what we have to do, isn't it?
It is. I'm just being devil's advocate there and poking the bear, because it's about seeing somebody in their raw state. So if somebody tells you, every time I eat bread, I feel bloated, or kind of it's pretty common. Or anytime I eat onions, I get very gassy.
Yeah.
And then if you are giving them remedies, but they keep on eating junk food all the time, you're kind of, you're fighting a harder battle, because, as you said, we just have to try and kind of guide people as best we can. But I think it's really nice is not the right word. It's really important for us to see somebody in their raw state, as I said, to know what is causing them discomfort on a dietary level.
Yes. And quite often when we do ask these questions, we ask for specifics, because what you call a clean diet, I might, question. And I might think, okay, well, why do you need those vitamins and minerals? Are you not eating this, and this? So that's the questions that we ask help us understand exactly what is going into your body, because what is going into your body obviously affects how your body reacts.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's go on to one consultation is all you need. I love the one consultations where we give one remedy and everything is 100% better. And I'm sure this probably occurred much more 200 years ago, before everybody had huge amounts of chronic disease. But maybe that's wrong. I think it happens beautifully with 6-year-olds when they've had much less health history to be through. But this is about setting your expectations. So what is it that people need to know about using homeopathy to address the cause of their symptoms, not to stop their symptoms occurring, which is what happens with mainstream medicine. Perhaps that's what they're used to.
I suppose I'm going to try and put it in simple terms for myself. We don't know, when somebody comes to us, we're talking chronic stuff here, we don't know how long it's going to take for somebody's particular health situation to improve, to stabilize, to get better, until we have done a full health history with them. And Yeah, I suppose it's just setting expectations, of course. So if somebody comes to you and they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they've been chronically sick for a long time, we have to kind of suggest to them that we might be looking at kind of 6 months to a year to 2 years on average for somebody's health to really be in the place that they want it to be, to a point that it's easily maintained.
But let's put that into perspective for a moment, because if they go to mainstream medicine with a chronic illness, what happens? They are put on a medication that they might have to take for years. And if they stop taking the medication, they actually are not better. It's just that the symptom has been alleviated using the medication. So we are after a completely different goal. And we are not going to ask you to take homeopathy for the rest of your life, are we?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And the reason why not is because we want to address the cause. We want to give your body a chance to get back to your health as it was before this health deterioration happened. And it's not necessarily going to be quick, but it's not going to be as long as just putting a plaster on it and keeping that maintaining course, keeping the original reason why your body has not got the health that it once had.
Yeah, and I think there's two big asks of both the homeopath and the client in starting off the journey as one. One is patience. We would like for you to be a little bit more patient than you might be used to from the conventional point of view, because sometimes we have to wait and see how the remedy, how you respond to the remedy. For some people, they can notice changes very, very quickly. For other people, the remedy will work on a level that's needed for you. For some people, it could be their sleep is the first thing that they'll see. For other people, it can be a physical change. So patience is really, really important. Just wait and see what happens. And the second thing is communication. For me, I really, really love when people just check in with me after a week or 10 days of taking the remedy. And whether they say, there's nothing happening, not sure what's going on, or something has happened, or whatever it is. It's just communication is so important, because we need to see how you're doing and then do a proper follow-up in whatever number of weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. And often people will completely forget what they've said to you in the first consultation. You might say to them, how's your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10? And they'll say 4. And after 4 weeks, you'll ask them the same question and they'll say 7. And we can say, great, we're on the upward trajectory. So communication is my absolute must when it comes to the team, the alliance. We're your best ally and you're our best ally in the journey.
Of course. And you're so right. And of course, it is not surprising that a lot of people who are new to homeopathy might think, well, why doesn't this symptom just go away after I've taken a remedy? And it is up to us really to keep reminding people that we are not putting a plaster on this symptom and sending it back into the body. What we're actually doing is going back to before you had this symptom and asking your body, what do we need to do to get back to there? The remedies themselves don't cure. All they do is act as a catalyst for your body to self-heal. Now, if your body's self-healing, it makes sense that we're going to go at your body's pace, because your body's dictate how quickly that can happen. And quite often, especially with sensitive people, we say, we cannot do this quickly. You understand that, don't we? Because if we do this quickly, for instance, skin, if we do skin changes quickly, you will come out with lots of rashes and spots and lots of things, because your body will do it quickly, and that will not be, suit most people. We need to go very gently. We need to go at a speed that does not impede you, that does not make it uncomfortable, painful, or intolerable. We've got to go gently at your body's pace, and therefore, and we're going much, much deeper, and we're looking at going through a healing process so that these symptoms won't occur in the future. And if they won't occur in the future, that means you won't need remedies. And things like allergies. You're used to going and you're used to having an antihistamine that stops you having the allergy. But if you stop having the antihistamine, you have the allergy again. Homeopathy doesn't work like that, does it? Because what we're doing is saying, no, we're going to teach your body to actually react in a different way and not react. So we're going to take longer for this to happen, but the results are you won't have allergies. It's your choice. And that's why homeopathy is a choice.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic choice, because people that don't realize that they have a choice in the first place, that's when we get that, go back, right back to number one, the too much enthusiastic. Oh my goodness, you mean I don't have to be allergic?
Yeah, that's true. It's gone full circle in the conversation. But yeah, I think we've covered a lot there.
I think we've covered a huge amount, but hasn't it been fun just to go through all of the questions that were asked, really, isn't it? And all of the sticky points that perhaps we don't talk about enough.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think keep learning, everyone. You can do it.
Going.
We can do it. It's really important.
And don't forget to tell people that there is a homeopathic choice. And don't knock it till you've tried it.
Exactly. And even if you've tried it, sometimes it takes a couple of little tweaks to get things. And acutes are brilliant. I think, kind of I don't mean simple acutes, but fevers or diarrhea or whatever it is. These acutes are an example for somebody who's new to homeopathy. When you suggest a remedy to help, and when it works, they're like, wow. And then that really just is the eureka moment.
It is amazing, isn't it? We are so lucky. Thank you so much for coming to talk to me, Ciara. It's so lovely just to be able to talk homeopathy with you.
Shoot the breeze. No problem, Mary. Thanks a million. Okay.
Take care.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Ciara, for going through everything that we need to be considering when we experience the homeopathic choice, and our experience with using homeopathy when it doesn't quite go to plan. It's just topics that we need to be talking about so much more. I hope you enjoyed this week, and next week I will be running through a few issues that I'm having living the perfect homeopathic life on a small island, and how that is impacting my work life and living as well. So I look forward to seeing you there and sharing some of those experiences. Take care. I do hope you've enjoyed these episodes, and I do hope you can subscribe to our channels. Now, there are various ways for you to listen to our podcast or watch it on video on YouTube. So whether it's iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, please do subscribe, and please do leave us a review. If you leave us a review on these platforms, then more people will see our podcast. We just want more people to share the joy of homeopathy. It's a choice that everybody should know about. Please do everything you can to help us help more people.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.